Well, since Hillary Clinton offered what Lanny Davis just told us was just an introduction on Sunday, some folks have come out swinging, including former Hewlett-Packard CEO Carly Fiorina, who hit Mrs. Clinton on her record. That earned Fiorina this response from the folks at a left-leaning cable network today.
You have an amazing round of accomplishments in your life, but someone could say it like this. You ran for Senate and lost. You worked for John McCain. You were moved off that campaign and he lost. You had a tenure at Hewlett-Packard that a lot of people describe as extremely rocky, destroying jobs and destroying the company's reputation. Are you really the right person to be criticizing Hillary Clinton's accomplishments or lack thereof?
Well, you've clearly been reading the Democratic talking points.
She said she'd been reading Fortune in the New York Times. Earlier, I spoke with Carly Fiorina, a potential 2016 Republican presidential contender. Thank you for being here. And so, was it your first dose of exposure to, the left-leaning media? But who do you think you are to criticize Hillary Clinton? Do you want to answer that here?
Well, first, as I pointed out to Mika, we doubled HP to $90 billion. We tripled the rate of innovation to 11 patents a day. We quadrupled cash flow. I went through a series of accomplishments. The thing about business, of course, is unlike politics, sometimes there are facts, there are numbers, there are results that you can't spin, they're just there. And I think people are always shocked that someone would bring forward results and accomplishments, because in politics, for too many, it's all about position and title. Certainly, I think that's been true of Hillary Clinton.
What struck me about that exchange was, if you're going to run for president, you're going to get pressed on your record and your time at HP, and you know all that.
Of course, that's fair.
But it was the tag. Who are you to criticize Hillary Clinton? And that, to many, exposes a bias that you and any other Republican presidential contender is going to have to deal with if you decide to run, which is the media, for the most part, will not be rooting for you, and they will be actively rooting for Hillary Clinton.
Well, I think that's true. And I also think that the media doesn't ask Hillary Clinton basic questions like, what have you actually accomplished? I mean, she's been on the stage for so long. She's been a fixture of Washington for so long. She's been a fixture of politics for so long that people sort of think, well, we don't need to ask what she's accomplished. Of course she's accomplished something. And that's why I think it's so important that we be able to fight on the ground of her accomplishments, of her track record, of her transparency, of her candor, of her leadership capabilities, and not allow her to play the gender card or talk about the war on women or all the other things she wants to talk about.
Let's talk about that here. Let's talk about
her track record.
Let's talk about the gender card, because the latest poll just came out today showing that actually, according to the polls, 83% of those polled say they don't believe that gender should be a factor, that it doesn't much matter to them in making them, inclined or not to vote for Hillary Clinton. How big a factor do you think it will be, especially if the GOP nominates a man?
I think the American people have it right. It's not about your gender. It is about what you believe, what your accomplishments are, what your track record is, what your leadership is. I think it's crystal clear, however, that Mrs. Clinton will play the gender card. She will say that this is about her becoming the first woman president. She will continue to say that Republicans are waging a war on women, and so we can't ignore that. We have to answer it.
And then, last week the big dust-up was Rand Paul, and was he getting testy in these interviews, and some said he had a sexism issue because there were two contentious interviews with female reporters. I said openly on the air that I thought that was nonsense. I didn't think there was any evidence of sexism. It was just he was kind of testy in some interviews, and he had been testy in some interviews with some guys, too. But some on the left in particular fanned that flame. And you tell me whether you believe that's the way it's going to go, because they're laying the groundwork for these GOPers. They don't like women, whereas the Democrats, they nominated one.
First of all, you're exactly right. They will fan the flames, because the Democratic playbook is all about identity politics, and it has been for a long time. What we need to do, what I intend to do if I run, is to talk to the American people about the issues they care about, that we have a government that is so powerful, so costly, so corrupt, that literally, unless you're wealthy, powerful, and well-connected, you can't deal with it. And by the way, Hillary Clinton represents that political class to a T.
Great to see you, as always, Carly Fiorina.